It is exciting and humbling to be inducted into the Sacramento Running Hall of Fame. Thank you. To be included with Olympic champions, world and age group record holders, and great coaches and race directors is truly an honor. There is one record that wasn't in the video, Ellen. And that's a record that no one here will ever be able to break. And that is that I am the slowest runner ever to be inducted into this Hall of Fame. I'm not here for my speed. My background was tennis. And after graduating from Sac State in business and playing on their tennis team, I opened a small tennis shop at 48th and J in 1966. To give you an idea of how long ago that is, Dennis Zyloff was in the 8th grade at Sacred Heart Grammar School. He and his buddies were some of my early customers. Rich Hanna was 2, and Scott Abbott wasn't even born yet. I soon realized that tennis alone was not enough to make money, and so I got into snow skiing. And fast forward to 1973, I opened a big store on El Camino. By 1976, I'd put on a few too many pounds. And so along with a diet, I took up jogging around the track. After a little while, I ventured out to the bike trail and met Abe Underwood and became a Buffalo Chip. The first race that I ever ran was the Folsom 10K in 1976. It attracted a good crowd, and I had a lot of fun. I had read in Runner's World that they were putting on fun runs in the Bay Area, and I thought if I could get all these runners to my store that surely sales would increase. So I drove my car around this nice neighborhood behind the store and came up with a 3-mile course. The first McIntosh Fun Run was September 1976, and 66 runners showed up. I remember Jim O'Neill, Tim Jordan, and Frank Krebs all ran personal bests for the distance by a lot. So Tim came back out the next day and measured the course. And he found that it was about 250 yards short. So I learned right then you can't measure a course by driving your car. We kept up the fun runs on the 3rd Saturday of every month for 10 years, rain or shine. We averaged about 250 runners, so that's 120 races. That's over 30,000 participants. Looking over the entire list of Hall of Famers, I saw that way over half have come to my fun run, so I feel good about that. I increased my mileage and ran my first marathon in San Diego in January of 1977 in a respectable 3:34:01. As you can see, I'm not here for my speed. And I enjoyed the event after I recovered and thought, if San Diego and Boston could have marathons and San Francisco and New York were planning one, why shouldn't Sacramento have one? So I began planning the first Sacramento Marathon. I liked William Land Park as the start-finish. We would go out to Old Sacramento and back. And so with the help of Abe Underwood and other Buffalo Chips, we came up with a course that after the first year, we realized needed to be improved on. There were too many loops around the park and too many turns in the neighborhood. We actually had a few runners get off course. It wasn't their fault. So in 1978, with an improved course, we added the half marathon. And that actually over time became more popular, and the number of runners in the full marathon decreased. Because it was out and back half marathon course, it was difficult for the full marathoners to turn around and go back out after seeing all the festivities going on, smelling the barbecue, hearing the music, and seeing the half marathoners drinking beer and getting massages. The CIM is the perfect marathon course. and that became the marathon of choice. In the 70s and 80s, there were years when I put on over 30 races, and I ran in almost all of them because of good help at the finish line. And by the way, there was no chip technology at that time. We used numbered popsicle sticks and pinned-on name tags. Some of the other races that I'm real proud of that I started and was race director was the Zoo Zoom, the 4th of July 5-miler in River Park, the women's only Susan B. Anthony race at Birdcage, Weinstock's 5-miler on the K Street Mall, and the year-long project that I did for Eppes, where I started races and I was race director of the great race, and then I started races in every town that he had restaurants. And the biggest one was in Las Vegas. It was a 10K. Frank Shorter showed up. He came in second. I didn't beat him. It was a great 10 years of putting on runs, and I had a lot of fun doing it. I'm thankful for all the friendships, and I'm also glad to see so many of you guys here. And that all finishers of all abilities, I think, had fun at my events. It makes me feel real good that I may have had something to do with the popularity of running in Sacramento. Thank you.